Hello everyone, I'm with my mate John, he's from Scotland, and we're up at a place called Bleaklow, and we're looking for the Bleaklow Bomber, which was an American bomber that crashed here in 1948, killing everyone on board unfortunately, but the remains of that are visible. I'll apologise in advance for the wind, because we are basically at one of the highest points in England at the moment, so it's probably going to be quite crackly, but we're going to get stomping up. I think it's about a 5k round trip, so it's not a crazy long walk, but it's not signposted either, so there's a signpost for it. I was lying. Need to stop meeting like this, and then by the 5th time it's just. Look at that. That's Manchester over that way, and then that way down into Sheffield. So this bomber was called Overexposed, right? Now for ages I've seen Overexposed crash site, and I just assumed what that meant was that it's exposed. You can see the remains. It's not that was actually the name of it. And it was part of the Berlin airlift in 1948. It was also part of. It was taking photos. I think it was taking footage of nuclear bombs being dropped on the Marshall Islands in like 46, 47. So like horrendous stuff. And if anyone reads up on that, people in that area are still suffering from rare kinds of cancer and stuff now as a result of what the Americans did in the 40s. And this bomber was part of it.
National Cancer Institute was asked to determine what kind of cancer burden was generated from the nuclear testing. And in 2004, they came out with a report that said, in the period of time between 1946 and 1958, the people who lived in the Marshall Islands during that time, it would have generated an excess of 530 excess cancers, at least, above the background. And half of those, over 200, because of they take a while to grow, have yet to produce themselves. So it's quite a heavy load.
On the 3rd of November 1948, it was flying just a bog standard flight from RAF Scrampton, which is Lincolnshire that way, over to Warrington to a US Air Force base. 13 people on board, 10 o'clock in the morning, dead simple flight, but it was foggy as it gets up here. So this is where it crashed, just by simply kind of getting its trajectory wrong, bang, straight to the ground. Yeah, I don't know how much I can zoom in because you lose quality, but can you see in the distance there those high rises? That's Manchester there. And as Jono said, it is a bit like a sci-fi movie, isn't it? Like that's the dystopian city, isn't it?
It is, that's what it looks like.
And me and you are what? We're the lepers that have been left out, left out on the moors.
Yeah, we've escaped the city walls, and we're trying to find a way to fend for ourselves outside of the dystopia.
And those big rocks up there, we're going to get a good view of them as well shortly. That's a peat bog, isn't it? Exactly that. Incredible visually there. The wind isn't ideal, but whenever I see sort of tragedies like this, of any kind, like obviously normally we're walking railway lines and there's accidents and things like that, the one hope, because you always try and find some sort of light in the dark, is that it was quick and there was no pain or whatever. So this was flying through fog, so it said that the pilots were going just off the instruments alone, nothing visual because it was just fog. And then it hit the land and blew up, which is horrendous, but it's got to be better than, knowing you're crashing down. I mean, imagine the terror of seeing the ground getting closer and stuff. So, hopefully these guys didn't have to go through that. It's getting more and more uneven now, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah.
There were some stones back there that lured me in. I thought actually this is going to be a cushy walk for my ankles, but the terrain has had other plans. So this plane, the Overexposed, crashed around about 11 o'clock, I think, AM. And they scrambled local rescue services and stuff to get up here, but they didn't get up here till about 4 and didn't find it till then. Obviously by that point, you know, all that was left was wreckage. But one really sad thing about it, I was reading, was that actually there was 13 people on the plane that all lost their lives, but most of them weren't even meant to be on there. It was just a routine flight, but a few of them basically either didn't like, or there weren't enough places to hang out and things to do at the RAF base. So they wanted to go back to the USAF base, where I think there was, you know, more of a bar and more of a social sort of vibe. So they basically just hitched a lift, just simply to just go and have, you know, a bit more of a social life, I guess. And obviously it cost them their lives, which is sad. It goes from path to uneven to path to uneven, doesn't it? There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, really. I guess maybe this was pathed at some point, but it's just, you know, been broken down by walkers or broken down by the elements.
Yeah, it's all right.
You nearly managed to it. We're getting close now. I know there is a memorial as well, but I'm looking at that hill there. That looks like scattered remains, doesn't it?
It does.
Someone's built a... What do they call this? Is it a cairn?
I'd call it a cairn.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is the memorial, because I know there is a memorial up here. No, I think this is just some people have just put this together.
At least there's an arrow on
Is there really?
it. Yeah.
Oh, there's that one. This looks like the most trodden path, doesn't it? From where we were a minute ago, John, I thought we were basically there. But
So right.
this, I mean, it sounds beautiful, the sound of the stream. But it's kind of, we need to be right there, but it's
Big detour.
big detour, yeah. Turns out what we were pointing at, or rather what I was pointing at, wasn't the crash site at all. But I've just spotted something. So trees don't grow up here basically because it's so windy. Apart from that one. Just one tree. I'm out of breath now, John, I'm panting.
It's getting inhospitable, look at that log.
Yeah, it is a little bit. So much for the footpath. You can see how it took the rescue services so long to get up here. Because we've got the odd sign here and there, like there's an odd arrow kind of etched into a rock or something, so we know we're sort of in the right direction. And even we're sort of, you know, taking forever to get up here, so it's a pretty big moor, this as well. So if you didn't actually know what you were looking for or where you were looking for it, 5 hours is probably quite good. I know what you're thinking. Probably that there would have been smoke and fire, which would have been a bit of a clue for them. But remember, it was complete fog cover. So actually that's another reason why it would have been even harder to have found it. And this is before, you know, GPS and Google Maps and all that gubbins. It's getting seriously windy now. Sheep are hardcore, aren't they? Like living somewhere like this. So we've come, there's the cars there. We've come all the way round, because there's, as John has just spotted, there's a big chasm in between. So you had to come all the way here to almost kind of come back on yourself a little bit to come up here. So we just spotted that down there. Let me try and zoom in a bit and see. That's definitely plane related, isn't it? Looks like the front of an engine. Maybe walk back down that way then. Carry on up to the actual site where most of it, but I suppose it makes sense, it would be scattered over an area, wouldn't it? That's been there since 1948. That's mad. Yeah, I don't know what part that is, but people have left memorials, obviously. Wow. Anyone watching this that knows anything about aeroplanes might know what part that is, but to me, I'm clueless, I'm afraid. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I don't know what I expected though, John, or whether I expected people to you know, take it away, but it's just...
I thought we'd just see like a big bit of plane like mostly all together, but it's like completely destroyed and spread out across
a large area, yeah, because we're not even at the main section yet.
Alright.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a graveyard.
It is a graveyard, yeah. So it's 2023, you know, and this is the 3rd of November 1948. I mean, jeez. Wow. I'm trying to recognise parts of a plane, but it's just... Wow. Oh mate, you're running. Jeez. That's hardcore, that. Where's the US flag, look? How you doing, mate?
Right.
Running up here. This is just... I'm like you, I don't know what I expected, to be honest. I've seen photos, but they're generally that's the photo.
Yeah.
And not all this wreckage.
This is now sort of like out of a Pixar movie. Start seeing some of these bits. These little bits of engine up here, like motors or some sort of thing like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's, yeah, this is engine. Oh man. I wonder as well how much further it goes. Like, I bet it goes over the hills as well. Because this was what was known as a flying fortress. So I mean, you know, losing the name of huge things. Apologise for the wind. There we go. So yeah, look at the size of what it would look like. Overexposed, one of the 16th photographic reconnaissance squadron, US Air Force. So this memorial was put up in 1988. Yeah, there is more up here, John. Wow. This must have looked like absolutely insane for the first responders, you know, the first people to turn up here when the cloud sort of, you know, cleared. I'm assuming they took the bodies away, because I keep seeing like mounds, but obviously that's not going to be them burying the lads. They would have almost certainly been taken back to America, wouldn't they? To their families. Jeez. Here from Manchester, I suppose you must be able to, but like the wind's going to be a write-off now, folks, so I might just put some music over this. But look at that, you see the high rises of Manchester there. I think that might be Glossop, maybe Glossop down in the valley, I'm not entirely sure. Oh mate, 1871, look at that, 1871 graffiti. See, even the graffiti looked nicer back then. They made more of an effort. Now it's just like, Dan was here. So that's us clambering back to the car. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. So we're nearly back at the car, and we timed that well. The crash site and where we were is completely gone now, isn't it?
Folks,
Oh man.
as it was, so it is.